I'm so happy to be having this for you. I'm a yoga teacher and author. I've been practicing this sort of form of moon magic for quite a few years. And I've kind of found a way to use it to help me manifest and create wonderful things in my life, as well as just use it as a way to feel more kind of connected spiritually through my life. One thing that I try to make clear about this practice is that it can be as witchy, as you want it to be. If nothing else, I just think it's a really wonderful way for us to take ourselves out of maybe the laser focus kind of rigmarole, just going through the motions, day to day rut that we get into, and gives us a wider perspective of the energies of the season and the moon, and so whatever sort of I guess bigger energy, whatever name you want to call that, God, spirit, self, whatever. It just gives us a way to tap into something a little bit bigger. And through that, we can use sort of these natural energies that are at play already in the world and use those to help us do the things that we want to do in life, So whether that's getting a new job, making lots of money, just being happy, there's a way that we can kind of use this to work for you, which I think is kind of cool. And that's where the magic parts of it come in. So the January moon is called the wolf moon, and I know you might have heard sort of these different names that get thrown on to the full moons, and it can be a bit confusing, right? Maybe you've heard of like a big harvest moon, there's a strawberry moon, and all these different words. There's the super blood orange fabric moon. I made that up, but you might see some of those big long strings of words to describe a moon, and those all usually come from old Native American sort of names for that, or sometimes they're attached to old Celtic folklore as well. But each moon has a specific name that goes along with the energy of that moon, and it was usually given as a reference to what's happening in nature at that time. So with January being the wolf moon, this was the time in Native American tribes where the wolves were really, really active. You could sort of hear them like howling at the moon into all hours of the night, and we can speculate now that that's probably because it was the dead of winter and there was no food anywhere and they were hungry, so they're yelling out to each other about how hungry they were. And so then too in the tribes there would be sort of these big packs of wolves that would all of a sudden kind of come in and roam around looking for food. So eventually the January moon became known as the wolf moon. So with that, I always say you can our kind of attachment to that name of the wolf moon kind of ends there. It's a nice way to keep track of it and to sort of know which moon you're talking about, but we're not going to be doing any sort of big like wolf visualization meditations or anything like that. Some people like to use this time under the wolf moon to run with that like pack metaphor, so they use it for working with your family and your ancestors and your loved ones. And if that's something that you feel called to do, then you're more than welcome to. If you want to get really into it, you can put up some pictures of some wolves on your altar or your bedroom or anything. You can use that that name as much as you feel like you want to. But for our purposes here, we're just kind of knowing why it's called the wolf moon and that it is, and now we're just gonna kind of leave it at that. But our two sort of themes for our January moon are all about aligning and resetting. So I think this is a really powerful practice to implore, especially after this new year, because in January we are kind of in this sacred pause of time, right, where we're still a little bit still in 2019, but now still a little bit into the new year. It can be an energetically discombobulated time. So you might feel a little bit kind of spread out, a little bit scatterbrained. The days are kind of just whizzing by and you don't know what day it is anymore. That's totally natural with the energy that's happening right now. So it's but also then a really powerful time to still take that pause, know that you don't have to come out of the gate right on January 1st, knowing how you're going to do all these wonderful changes in your life. That doesn't usually work like that. So just kind of giving yourself time to breathe into this sacred pause and just feel the I don't know, the chaos of the energy, right? It's a big change and a big shift. We're in a brand new decade, and it's not going to be a smooth and easy transition, even though as much as we might want it to. So, time of reflection, inspiration. Named January comes from this Roman god named Janus. He had two different faces, one to look in the past and one to look in the future. So we can kind of channel that energy of reflection, but then also goal setting and forward looking. That's what we're going to do a little bit. Yes, the whole resolution thing. So resolutions are wonderful. They are actually kind of a big core of what this moon magic kind of system is resolutions and intentions. But I want to kind of challenge this thought that you have to come into New Year's already ready to go with your resolutions. I kind of touched on that a bit before too, but I think we feel so pressured socially and culturally to be ready at the first to just flip a switch and change everything, right? It's a whole new decade and you feel like you have to have it right from the first time. I've seen sort of these jokes and stuff on the internet like, "Oh, I already messed up. 2021 will be my year." Which is it's funny, but it's sad because that's how a lot of people actually feel. You feel like if you can't immediately do something perfectly the first time or really well, then you might as well just quit. And that's a totally natural way to feel, and I think it kind of goes back to something that's a little bit maybe wrong with the way that we verbalize this whole resolution and goal setting thing. So it's you don't have to do this whole just flip a switch thing. So that's what we're kind of going to work on getting at the root of our resolutions. But before we make any major upheavals, yes, our first step that we're going to take is ask ourselves why. And this might seem like a really basic thing. This is not earth-shattering news that I'm giving you, but it's something that we all, I think, kind of forget about a lot of times. I'm guilty of it too. I get really excited about new opportunities or chances or something like that, and you forget to ask yourself, why, or the core reason for what you're doing. So we're going to first ask ourselves how we want to feel, sort of when we visualize our life on this grand, more energetic picture. And then from there, we can come up with the goals. I don't think it's ever wrong to try to add a quantitative sort of value to goals, things that you want to achieve. That's really great. I think that's a really powerful practice, but we're still at the very beginning of the year. We have all this time, all this moon energy to get through. It's going to be a long ride. Give yourself time and space to really build a solid foundation before you take off.